It's amazing how books can impact us, and some books become so ingrained in our minds, it's very hard to get rid of them. It was just last week that I was shuffling through my bookshelf looking for a good book to read, and I stumbled across this memoir by Constance Briscoe called Ugly. Ugly is basically a memoir written by an ex-lawyer capturing the anguish she endured in a heartless home. As I started reading Ugly, I was astonished by the heinous and graphic things that Claire was subjected to just because she was deemed ugly with a bedwetting problem. The memoir starts off with Claire, or Constance as she's later known as, trying to end her life by drinking bleach. She wakes up the next morning and is subjected to all sorts of physical and verbal abuse by her mother. As time passes on, Claire's siblings forsake her, leaving her totally in the hands of her wicked mother. The brutal physical assaults, verbal assaults, and the sexual assaults become a daily thing. As time passes, Claire tries to ask her biological father for help, but he can only provide a limited means. In the meantime, a stepdad comes into the picture and just reinforces the mother's brutality. I literally shook my head with disgust when I read the part where Claire's mother cut her arm with a knife. Making matters worse was the fact that Claire's mother left her without food, water and electricity, and on top demanded that she pay rent for the upkeep of the house. This eventually compelled Claire to juggle multiple jobs in order to make ends meet. So from a young age, Claire suffered at the hands of her mother and had to build up her own academic profile whilst receiving no love at home. I was so appalled by the brutality in this memoir that I couldn't put it down. I was just on the edge of my seat, wanting to know what happened next, and deep down hoping for Claire to have her own back. But in the end, Claire got her own form of own back. She went off to university, became a successful lawyer, and left behind her heartless family. There's also a rather touching part in the memoir where Claire builds a close bond with one of her teachers, and she becomes a bit of a carer for a short period of time. This kind of reminded me of Matilda and Miss Honey from the Matilda book. I won't say too much more about the memoir because I'd rather you form your own opinion, but at times I did wonder, why did Claire not retaliate against her mother when she was subjected to these brutal assaults? Surely a child would crack eventually. But having said that, I suppose all children are different, and some are so fearful of any repercussions that they simply don't know how to retaliate, and I think Constance Briscoe is an example of that. Now there's 6 themes I managed to gouge out from this memoir, and those 6 themes include bullying, good parenting, fear, hard work, child abuse, and gratitude. Coming on to the prose in this memoir, it's clear, it's accessible and written in a journalistic style. So don't expect something like a novelist's flourish with excessive description and vivid uses of similes and metaphors and all that stuff. One thing, however, I did note about the prose was how it built up very fast in the outset of the memoir, but then suddenly became very loose and rushed towards the end. In terms of personal impact, what can I say? This memoir moved me, and it moved me very deeply. For example, it's remarkable how Constance Briscoe, despite enduring the horrors in a hellish home, still became one of the top leading lawyers in the UK and a top leading part-time black judge. To me, the author's journey is extremely inspiring, and it's made me appreciate that everything that I have tenfold. I think another important point that Constance Briscoe raises within Ugly is how we should be more aware as to what happens behind closed doors. When we see friends, members of our family, colleagues and associates, we assume things are okay. But is that always the case? Some of the things that go on in Ugly are so despicable that you must read the book for yourself. As for Constance Briscoe, or Claire as she's known as in the memoir, she's a resilient character and her perseverance is admirable. It's a perseverance that gets her from A to B and allows her to overcome her odds. I think a simple message from Constance Briscoe in Ugly is just to simply count your blessings. Not everyone is blessed with an affectionate family, and those who aren't, well, this is an example. I would say that another message in Ugly is towards parents. Children don't ask to be born, therefore they should not be subjected to brutality or be treated as a burden or a means to an end. Parents should under no circumstances be the first bullies to their children. Having read Ugly, it's super refreshing to see how righteous deeds have overcome malicious inflictions without having the need to resort to vengeance. On the other hand, the only negative thing I've got to highlight about Ugly is the controversy surrounding this memoir. Apparently some things mentioned in this memoir have been questioned in terms of credibility and authenticity, and it was just over 10 years ago that Constance, Briscoe and her mother were engaged in litigation over this. You can read about the litigation yourself, and there's also some articles featuring Constance Briscoe's fall from grace, but I won't go into that now. That's something you can do in your own time. So yeah, this memoir is basically a shock within its pages and outside its pages. But I won't say anything more. I'll let you read this memoir for yourself so you can construct your own judgment and opinion. Thank you very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I will try and get back into the groove of doing more book talks. I'll catch you all next time. Take care, stay safe, and cheerio for now.